Before we begin, let me just acknowledge something. I know this will upset people. I can feel the eye rolls forming in real time. Somewhere out there, a guy who still ends every tweet with "Milady" is foaming at the keyboard. But I promise, this isn't a hit piece. It's not even a rant, really. It's more like a eulogy. Because whether or not George R.R. Martin ever finishes A Song of Ice and Fire, the dream of satisfaction, cohesion, and complete story, that's already gone for me and so many people, and maybe this is my own eulogy to the series. So, tell me what you think in the comments below. Membership and Patreon are available if you want to support this channel, and please remember to check out my Substack. So, let's start this episode. Let's give Martin his dues. When A Game of Thrones dropped in 1996, it shattered the conventions of fantasy. The farm boy didn't save the world, he got his head cut off. The princess didn't fall in love, she became a tyrant who burnt cities. The good guys don't win, they die, betrayed, bled out in the snow. Martin gave us politics, grey morality, dense world building, emotional complexity, and dragons. Because dragons are cool. Let's be real here, dragons are cool. He told us a story that felt real, like reading a piece of history, real enough to hurt. He made us believe, and then the scope ballooned. By the time A Feast of Crows and A Dance with Dragons came around, the cast of characters had metastasized. Subplots bloomed like an endless sea of, for want of a better word, big stinking roses. We were following people with names like the Pig Boy and wondering if they were the secret Targaryens. Every chapter felt like a side quest in a video game, inside a dream sequence wrapped in a prophecy. It stopped feeling like a story and started feeling like a simulation. One where the author lost track of the NPCs that were holding the main quest lines. Here's the problem. Stories have momentum. They build, they rise, character arcs. Threads tighten, themes echo, but only if you keep writing. Martin didn't, or rather he did, but not his story. He blogs. He edited anthologies, consulted on TV adaptations, wrote about miniature trains. He appears at cons, talks football. He's made cameos in games. He's developed spin-offs. He wrote prequels. He did everything except the thing that everyone is still waiting for. And he keeps saying he's writing. But as the years passed, the books didn't come. And with each year, the story froze a little bit more. Every decision felt heavier. Every character arc became a minefield of expectations and contradictions. Every plot twist had to be reckoned with 15 years of online theory crafting and fanfic that already explored it probably more eloquently. It's hard to finish a masterpiece. Although I don't necessarily think Game of Thrones is a masterpiece, but I think it's very good. It's harder when the audience have probably already finished it 1,000 times in their head. So let's talk the Winds of Winter. At this point, Winds isn't a book, it's a myth. A shared delusion. A literal vaporware. We've been hearing it's almost done since Obama's first term. That's not even a joke. It's been literally promised before the end of the Bush administration. Note sarcasm before everyone comes at me. We've had placeholder release dates, updates constantly. I'm making progress, blog posts, every few chapters tossed like scraps into a starving fandom. But the book has never came, and deep down, I think me and many others are starting to feel it. This wasn't a delay, it was a slow collapse. And I'm king of slow collapses. I will go to war with Martin on that one. A creative system failure in real time. The author lost the thread, and he's never going to get it back. George has a blog. If you read it, you know it's a strange place. Half writing updates, half diary, half a little bit charming, half a little bit sad. He posts about football, about old friends, about airline delays. He posts tributes to dead writers and updates on spin-off shows that he's super excited about. He writes everything except what we want, and honestly the blog makes it worse. because of, there's no silence. And which we could at least interpret however we wanted. We get noise. We get cheerful monologues about things no one cares about except five guys who go to the same convention every year. We get endless proof that he is alive and typing, just not for us. He treats wins like an email you keep meaning to send but never do. Because it's too long, because it's too complicated, and honestly, you don't want to have that conversation. This isn't a casual product, it's a cultural event. And the silence wrapped in small talk feels like a betrayal. People say Martin owes us nothing, that art is not a contract. I agree, to a point. But A Song of Ice and Fire isn't a private creation anymore. It's become part of culture. People build their lives around it. Academics studies it. Writers copy it. Fans tattoo it on their bodies. Viewers raged when HBO sped past the finish line, guided by skeletons of George's notes and a mountain of studio pressure. It was a phenomenon. Then it was a wound. Now the idea of Martin wrapping it all up, tying every knot, closing every arc, answering every riddle feels absent. Like asking someone to solve a Rubik's Cube made of mist and regret. Even if he could finish it, would we get what we wanted? Would we want what we got? Question. Tell me in the comments. Let's entertain the impossible, that The Winds of Winter comes out tomorrow. It's brilliant, it's dark, it's twisted and full of heartbreak. Great, amazing. Now what? We still have A Dream of Spring to go, which, let's be honest, sounds more like a hospice title than a real book at this point. If Winds took over a decade, Dreams will arrive in 2040 or be stitched together post-mortemly from half-finished notes by someone named Todd who once worked in publishing. At this point, expecting closure is like waiting for a bus that has been off schedule since 2015. You can stand there all you want, but you're not going anywhere. Let's just say it. I don't think George will ever finish these books. Not really, not anymore. He feels he should. He might try, but I personally think that the magic has gone. The world got away from him. The plot mutated, the fanbase turned, the ending became radioactive. Finishing it now would feel like building on a castle out of driftwood and glue. And maybe that's why he keeps talking about everything else. Maybe that's why he still clings to old hobbies, old shows, old posts. Because forcing the work means facing the failure, or worse, facing the ghosts of the writer he was when he started. This is just my opinion, and based on just words, comments, and tone. So where does this leave us? Maybe this video is just my way of letting go, or mourning a story I once believed in. Because it was beautiful. It's rich, it's a slow burn. In ways it shocked, hurt, and thrilled, but the story is gone. Not because it ended badly, but because it never ended at all. And maybe that's worse. Unfinished stories don't get closure, they get purgatory. They become fandom driftwood, endless speculation never resolved. A broken, beautiful skeleton. Maybe it's okay to say goodbye to it. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. Loudly. Happily. I'll buy Winds of Winter in hardback. I'll record a video of myself eating a crow. I'll send George a thank you card, and maybe even give the wild card stuff too. But until then, for me personally, I think the dream is dead. Maybe in that quiet space where the story was supposed to end, we can finally make peace with what it actually was. At this point, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest unfinished tales ever told.